Hello again and welcome to our 60 Minutes podcast, Extra Minutes. My name is Dimity Clancey and joining me today is my very highly esteemed colleague, Tara Brown.
Thank you, Dimity. This is unusual.
It is unusual. I don't know if I'm nervous or excited. We're talking today about an extraordinary moment in royal history, and that is the arrest of Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor.
Yes.
You've done some incredible reporting in this space over the years. When you woke up to that news, what did you think?
It was kind of, when I heard the news, it was like, no way. I think this is something that people have been calling for a long time. They've, been calling for Andrew to be investigated, but I'm not sure that people actually expected to see something concrete, not something like this.
And I guess it shows what this story is like. And you've written this story, as I said, for a number of years. You've just come out of a screening for a documentary you've been working on about Giuffre Epstein. And it all changes. And then Andrew goes and gets arrested.
That's right. Andrew goes and gets arrested. Thank you, Andrew. We've just finished. It's a rework, a rewrite. It's sort of rewriting history. And as you say, it's fast moving. Last October we did a story for 60 Minutes on Andrew, and in the midst of it, he was Prince Andrew by Friday. 2 days before to go to air, he's no longer Prince Andrew. So, that just illustrates how things are changing, how quickly. But still, for some people, it should have been sooner.
Before we get into, what, he was arrested on, and why he was arrested this morning, I should say, the first thing I thought of was Virginia Giuffre. You're one of very few people who have sat with her and heard from her. What do you think she'd make of this?
She'd just feel so vindicated, and justifiably so. I mean, I think in her early days was sort of painted as a fantasist, making these claims about royal family and billionaires and so forth, and this photo that she was being accused of fabricating it. And, as the years have gone on, everything she has said seems to have come to pass. And let's be very clear, Andrew has not been arrested and questioned about sexual abuse allegations. That's another matter, and those investigations are continuing. But I think still that people within this space credit Virginia with the events, the last couple of days, and the focus that has been brought to bear on Andrew, Giuffre Epstein, and all Giuffre Epstein's mates.
Part of us just wanted to call her and tell her that the truth is out for you to see, and the world believes you when they didn't believe you before, and that is just so bittersweet. And there is this chapter in the book where she says, I just want to make a small dent in this huge world. And when all these things came to surface with Prince Andrew, I wanted to tell her, man, you broke it. You broke the system. And it's such a beautiful thing. And you just made the biggest impact.
Quite often this is how these investigations start. They start on a couple of unrelated charges as a way in. Do you feel like that's what's happening here?
Well, it could be, but these charges, or potential charges, he's been arrested under suspicion, are very, very serious and could lead at a maximum level to life in prison. So they're not pretend charges and then we'll get you on something else. Not at all. If proven. The problem is they're very hard to prove, or the challenge, I should say, is they're very hard to prove. Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor denies them, of course, and he has not been charged. He's not been convicted of anything at this point. But, so the challenge for prosecutors is the nature of the charge is a difficult one because you need to prove willfulness.
Intent.
Yeah, intent. How you do that, I'm not sure, but they're taking it very seriously. There have been 9 different police forces involved in the investigation.
It is important to point out that Andrew's arrest was not in relation to any of the sex trafficking allegations that have been made against Andrew. It's for misconduct in public office.
In this context, the allegation is that he was sharing confidential information that as a trade envoy he is outlawed from doing. He's not allowed to do. So that's the allegation.
And it all comes down to these emails.
Well, those emails have been revealed in the Epstein Files, is my understanding, and that they're emails between Epstein and Andrew, that he was sharing with Epstein confidential information. Now, to whose benefit? Jeffrey Epstein's? To Prince Andrew or former Prince Andrew's? I'm not sure, but I think that's what he was being questioned about.
And we know he's a terrible liar, so you can't imagine what he would have been like sitting for 12 hours in that police, either interview room or cell.
Can you imagine what he might have been thinking, his demeanour? Like, this is one of the most entitled people on earth, who's maintained his right to the highest levels of society despite the allegations made against him, that he's sort of scoffed and mocked and belittled people who've accused him. Could you imagine him now sitting in a police cell? You know, mere mortals daring to question him? I mean, that's what I imagine.
Would he be starting to stop looking down on people so much, do you think? Or do you think it's always going to be in him?
He strikes me as a very entitled person, and everything that we've encountered and from people who have worked with him and who have spent time with him and staff and so forth say that he is not a very nice human being. You know, he treats people appallingly.
His character is at rock bottom.
Have you met him?
Yes.
And how did you find him?
I found him abrasive, rude and arrogant.
It sends a clear message, though, when 6 unmarked detectives' cars turn up to your home at 8 a.m. on your birthday and take you away.
I think this marks a really significant moment in history. I think the fact that what we saw in that arrest is that the games stop. You know, we are taking this seriously. Nobody is above the law. These allegations are serious. We're acting in a serious manner. He faces serious questioning. It doesn't matter who he is. Not great for Andrew.
And not great for his brother, the king, either. You know, you can't imagine what he's been thinking, but you really do get a sense that he's been distancing himself since he stripped his titles in October. And I think his statement was really quite telling. I have learned with the deepest concern.
I don't know how to read that. There's lots of different ways, I think. I can't imagine having to write it. How difficult would that be for the king, writing about his brother? But he's it is the words of a monarch. It's not the words of a family member, is it? I don't know if the deep concern is that the allegations are so serious, so he's deeply concerned that his brother has done something so terrible or is being accused of doing that. I don't know if the deep concern is about how this reflects on him and the royal family.
It's unclear, you know, when he says the law must take its course. That's another line that caught my attention in the statement. It is still got that distance about it, and it's, you know, it's almost like, is he urging police to do their thing and investigate?
I think, in my opinion, that he's saying go for it. I think he's saying, there's no suggestion that the king had anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein, knew him, communicated in any way, that who knows, if he knew anything about the allegations against his brother and that relationship with Epstein before the rest of the world did, who knows. But there's no sense of, this will all come out in the wash, he should be given a fair hearing. We don't hear any of that language or see any of that language. I think he's saying he's not above the law.
When somebody so, high profile is arrested in the UK, I mean, it still feels like in America, the elite that have been caught up in the Jeffrey Epstein scandal are still untouchable.
I think it's a shame. I think it's very sad. I think it's so bad for the royal family. It's a very, very sad. To me, it's a very sad thing. When I see that, it's a very sad thing. To see it and to see what's going on with his brother, who's obviously coming to our country very soon, and he's a fantastic man, the king. So I think it's a very sad thing. It's really interesting because nobody used to speak about Epstein when he was alive, but now they speak. but I'm the one that can talk about it because I've been totally exonerated. I did nothing.
That's what a lot of the lawmakers in the United States feel too. Those who have pushed for the Epstein Files to be released and for action to be taken, they look to places like the UK and other parts of the world to say, look, you know, there are consequences for this. They're acting, so should we. I think the fact that Andrew is not a US citizen, but from the UK, still holds weight there because of his status. Mm-hmm. You know, I think that there is a real admiration in the United States for the royal family, but to see somebody of that stature crumble, certainly in the public eye, I think must have some cause for pause, at least. So I guess we'll just see. I mean, there are a lot of people arguing that there needs to be action now.
So where does this go now? You know, is there any other future date set for him?
Well, it's sort of watch this space, isn't it? And I mean, the whole thing with the Giuffre Epstein Files is something new comes out. It seems every day, a new name,
which
a
makes
new allegation.
Tara Brown's job very hard.
And my colleagues. It's not a one-woman show.
No, it most certainly is not.
No. But I think, from what I understand, you know, it's quite normal. What police have done is quite normal. If you were treating any other normal human, mere mortal person, so they've gone in. They have probably looked for devices. You know, they've taken phones, tablets, computers, any hard copies of the material that they have. And I think what happens now is they go through that. I mean, he's now no longer under arrest. Whatever then comes out of that will inform the next step in this sorry saga.
In your last story, it also said that he could go and flee and go somewhere else. He hasn't been charged. He was released, so he's not on bail or anything like that. Would he be allowed to leave, or would he be carefully watched now, given that this investigation really is like officially kicking off?
I don't know the answer to that question, but could you imagine? The unbelievable has happened. I mean, you know, he's a royal by blood sitting in a police cell. So will he flee? Look, I really don't know, but you would have to think that there is so much scrutiny now, so much focus. I don't know what his chances would be. Could you imagine the mess that would create on the world
it's like
stage?
anything's going to happen in this story, you know, and just that mere suggestion at the end of your last story that you did in October was that he could go to the Middle East or Thailand.
He may need to go somewhere where there's no extradition treaty, for example, with Britain.
Do you really think that Andrew will flee, that he'll leave the country?
Well, I think he will go somewhere where the jurisdiction can't reach him if it gets to that stage.
Like where? Where do you think?
Well, the Middle East is the obvious place. He's been offered a palace in Abu Dhabi. He has a lot of protectors and friends there. I mean, his great play place was Thailand. That's another option. That's where he used to go and have fun. Again, a very traditional society in many ways where he would be protected.
I think Andrew Lowney, who proposed that, who's written a big book on Andrew, stands by that. I don't know that he would think that he would flee after being interviewed by police. I think he was saying that if the heat got too much in terms of, you know, life got too hard, that he would go somewhere else.
But that's what I'm getting at. He's not official. Is there anything officially keeping him in the UK now?
I don't know.
Because the heat's definitely on now.
The heat is definitely on. You'd have to think that fleeing would be an admission of guilt. Do you imagine? I'm sorry.
You're stuck on it, aren't you?
No, I'm just stuck on the human side of it. Like I'm stuck on. I'm almost seeing it like a film. Like, you know, the knock on the door. It's his birthday, 66th birthday. You know, who answered the door? Would he have answered the door himself? I don't know. Or would have, you know, one of his staff members?
Did he scoff at them, or did he go willingly? Was he compliant?
Or did he yell at them and swear, or whatever? But you know, they would probably have to tell him why they were there. That they were there to arrest him. That they would probably caution him.
Of course. Yeah.
All that sort of stuff. Could you imagine? I imagine he might not have been able to say anything. You know,
but you would imagine that would have been a real moment for Andrew, though, where he's gone, oh, that's the first official, you're under arrest. Here are your cautions. Come with us. We want to question you. Like formally question him. It's all public media scrutiny until now.
I think that photograph of him leaving the police station in the
Bad angle.
But I think it says it all. I mean, it must be shock. Desperation, I guess. It's there laid out for the world to see. Yeah. I wish we had cameras there when the police knocked.
You wish you got the tip off, don't you, Tara?
I wish we got the tip off. People say that it was very closely guarded, that whether the king knew about the timing of it or knew nothing about it is still unclear.
They're saying he didn't know,
the suggestion
but I don't believe that.
Yeah, the suggestion is he didn't know that it would happen on that particular day at that particular time. There's some speculation that he might have known that the arrest was about to happen. But I saw someone somewhere say, it's a really difficult situation, because imagine if the king did know, and everyone, police, prosecutors know that the king knows, and they go to knock on Andrew's door and he's not there. He's done a runner. Imagine the position that would put the king in. The suggestion would be that the king has tipped him off.
But do you think he would tip him off?
No.
The tone of his statement doesn't suggest that he would tip him off.
No, I don't at all think he'd tip him off. But I think that was what was being raised as to why the king would not have been told that his brother is just about to be arrested. Oh, it's fascinating. I mean, it's real life. They're real people, real life consequences. But it is like a fairy tale gone badly, badly wrong.
And you always go back to just thinking, of Virginia Giuffre's family. I mean, they've been out talking since Andrew's arrest, and they're emotional, and they just wish that she was here. When you think back to your interview with her, does it change now following this development? That when you reflect back on what she said to you and the story she shared with you?
I'm just incredibly sad for Virginia and her family. She was incredibly believable when I met her and we did our story with her. It's not that you ever doubted her, but she was really fighting to be believed, and she had resisted some extraordinary attacks on her personally. And even though what we're seeing with Andrew and his arrest does not connect to the allegations that Virginia made against him, people do consider her the beginning of this, that they...
But maybe his brush with the law, which I'm sure it's not going to be just a brush, is the first step in her getting that justice she deserves.
I think it is perhaps the most significant step, because it just symbolises everything she was saying and fighting for. She's saying, these are the people who did this to me. These are the ranks of society they come from, and something needs to be done to stop them.
I was trafficked to a lot of types of different men. I was trafficked to other billionaires. I was trafficked to politicians, professors, even royalty. So the circles that Jeffrey Epstein ran in weren't your typical setting of human trafficking, and it was the elite of the world. It was the people who run the world. It was the most powerful people in the world, and those are our leaders. Those are the people that we are supposed to look up to. It's corrupt. It's corrupt to the core.
And it felt, I think, for many years that she was sort of saying that to the wind. But as you say, this is a massive, massive win for her. Sad she's not here to see it.
Absolutely. Tara, thank you.
Thank you.